Welcome. Let's solve Leetcode 2657. Find the prefix common array of two arrays. All right, let's make this bigger so we can read it. All right. You're given two zero-indexed integer permutations a and b of length n. A prefix common array of a and b is an array C such that C of I is equal to the count of numbers that are present at or before the index I in both a and b. Okay. Return the prefix common array of a and b. A sequence of n integers is called a permutation if it contains all integers from 1 to n exactly once. Okay. Let's go over this first example here. A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, and b equals 3, 1, 2, 4. Okay, let's look at this explanation here. So at index 0, no number is in common, so C of 0 equals 0. Okay. At index 1, 1 and 3 are in common in A and B, so C of 1 equals 2. At index 2, 1, 2, and 3 are in common in A and B, so C of 2 equals 3. And lastly, at I equals 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are common in A and B, so C of 3 equals 4. And it should make sense when we've reached the last index. It should be whatever the length is. So that should be somewhat obvious. Okay, let's look over example 2. At index 0, no number is in common, so C of 0 equals 0. At index 1, only 3 is in common in A and B, so C of 1 equals 1. And at index 2, 1, 2, 3 are in common in A and B, so C of 2 equals 3. Okay, so I think the explanations were, or the examples were very helpful in expanding on the description. Okay, so let's go over how we'll solve this. So maybe let's move this off to the side for a bit. So what we're going to use is a frequency count. So, and we'll just check along the way if the frequency is 2. And once we hit 2, that means we've seen that value twice. And so we can adjust our result. Okay, so let's go over maybe what they gave. I think that's adequate. What was it? Just copy this here. So what we'll do is we'll keep a count. Maybe we'll call it frequency. And we'll set the size equal to, well, it doesn't matter, but one more than what we have here. So we'll set this equal to something like this. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll loop through our numbers. So loop through our numbers through A and B, and perform checks and adjust frequencies along the way, and check if we have seen 2. If we have seen 2, we can adjust the count. If we have seen 2, we can adjust our count. Okay, so let's I guess we can kind of set it up so far. So let's maybe, we know we need the length, so we'll set that up. So we'll say int n equals a dot size. Also, we'll keep a running count. So we'll say a count will initialize to 0. Okay. And then we'll also need a vector for the result. Since we're sending back a vector of integers, we need to set that, initialize that. And we also need a vector for frequencies. So let's initialize those as well. So we can say vector event will be our result, And we know the result size, it should be the same size as n here. And also, we'll need a frequency count. However, though, if you recall, we need it to be one bigger. So we'll just set this to be n plus 1. Okay? And now let's set up our loop. So we'll say for int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay, so what do we do in our loop? What do we want to do? So we want to keep track if we've seen this number before. So let's kind of walk through it here. So here, we're going to look at a first. So we look at 1 and we say, we increment this to how many times we've seen it. So we say this is 1. And then we ask ourselves, well, kind of like what we do here on this line, have we seen, I don't know how to say it, something like frequency of a sub 0 2 times? If yes, increment count. And this count will be like a running total. So count will be a running total. So we'll increment count. So remember, count starts off as 0. And if yes, we increment count by 1. Okay, so notice though, we haven't seen this. This isn't 2 yet. So no, we don't increment it. Okay, so then we move on. Then we say, but well, we're not done yet because we need to consider the 3. We're still at index 0. So here's index 0. And let's maybe just move this over a bit. Then we ask ourselves, have we seen frequency b sub 0, which is 3 2 times. 2 times. Well, let's put this in there. We'll put 3 here, and then this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is the 1 now. So have we seen this before? And the answer is no. So we leave it as it is. Nothing happens. Okay, moving on to index 1. Index 1. So to be clear, we adjust our frequencies before we ask ourselves this question. So 3 here, we adjust this here. So now this becomes 2. So let me see. So let's put that down here. So adjust frequency for A. And then we ask ourselves this question. Sorry, this should go up here. And this should go here as well. Okay. So we adjusted the frequency for A. Then we said, have we seen, this is index 1 now, have we seen this 2 times? And yes, we have. So we adjust our count by 1. So now a count is 1. So at this point, count is 1. Okay. And then we do the same thing for B here. We say, okay, 1. We adjust this count. This becomes 2. Then we ask ourselves that question, have we seen that here before? So it's have we seen B of 1, which is 3? And yes, so we increment count. And that's basically it for the entire continuation of the iteration of the loop. So as we do this loop, we're going to just continuously do that over and over. And once we're done at the index, we adjust our result. So I don't know, what do we call it? We'll just call it for now result. So result at index whatever I is, which is 1 here, I guess, equals count. And same thing over here. Result of 0 would be count. Okay, and we're gonna just continue doing that over and over again. So let's implement it. So we adjust our frequency. So frequency of a sub I, and we'll set this plus plus. Then we ask ourselves, have we seen that before? So we say, if frequency of a sub I is 2, then we can adjust our count. We can say count plus equals 1. Okay. And then we do the same thing for B. We say, okay, and we say, we adjust our frequency for B. Then we ask ourselves the same exact question. Have we seen it before? Okay. And if we have seen it before, we adjust our count. And then we set that to the current index for result. In this case, what do we call it? Result. So result at index I equals count. Okay, and then we just return our result. I just want to go over some small details here. We could have just not initialized the size of the vectors, and just simply done something like result.push back count. And the same, probably the same thing for, I'm not sure for frequency, because we needed that extra value here, but let's just stick with this result here. From my understanding of C++ is that it's a little bit better to initialize the values, so we know what we're working with. So it makes it a little bit more efficient. So that's why I did that. So I just wanted to point that out. So this will still work, of course, but again, it's a little bit more efficient if you know the size, and you don't have to keep adjusting the size of the vector. So again, that's why I did that. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, let's check it with the local tests. Oh, my apologies. Okay, let's submit it. Okay, looks very good. I just want to go over this one more time before we depart. So the key part was, I want to go over this one part that was bothering me here. If you had decided to maybe increment them together, we would have had an issue. So I want to show you. So this will give us a problem. So notice there's a problem here. Right, you see it right here. So the reason why there's a problem is because we're incrementing them too soon. So let me show you why that's an issue. So so let's see how I can demonstrate that here. So here, so the way I've done this here, I say adjust frequency for A. So let's clear these out, just so we have this here. No, let's do this here. Sorry, let's do this better. Let's make this like, let's do this. Yeah, this is probably best. Here we go. So we adjust the frequency for A and B. This is what we have, right? The way I've written it in the code, we adjust them together. Okay, so we adjust frequency for A. So that means we would change this to 1 here. And then we change this to another one. We change this to, this is a 2. But then we say, have we seen A0 2 times? And then, so we would just count by 1. So then at this point, at this point, count would be 1. But then we ask ourselves the question again, have we seen B 2 times? And then we just the count again. So then count would be 2. So do you see how that's wrong? Because when we have values that match, they're only contributing one value. Like, so remember, this should really look like this now. C should be, at this point, it should be 1. Because only 1 and 1 match. So my point to you is, we have to treat them individually. So what we do is we look at A, and we say, have we seen it before? And at this point, we've only seen it once. But when we get to the B, then we have seen it before. So then when we wouldn't increment this over here so far, but we would increment it here. So I wanted to make that point clear. We need to ask the question individually or separately. You can't do it together because it'll give you an incorrect result. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I point that out. If some of you were wondering if you could just kind of do this together, and if you do, it would make it would kind of misconstrue how you're encountering the values. So first you look at A, and then you've seen it before. You've seen it only once, and then here is B. Now at this point you've seen it twice. In the simplistic sense, this is just one example. There are other examples, but again, I wanted to point this out because this was one of the issues that I was concerned with when I was doing the problem. Okay, if you found this video beneficial or helpful, please consider liking or subscribing. Other than that, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Cheers.